Hi everyone, this is Debbie from German Shepherd Dog Welfare Fund. We just want to get a little message out there about how difficult rescue is at the moment and what we're doing to help things and what you can do to help. I've got with me Lisa Hurd, who's our behaviourist. Obviously, she's working with lots of dogs that are in our care, and we're seeing such different behaviours at the moment. Worrying behaviours. So we just thought we'd go through it and let you know what's going on.
Thanks, Debbie. So I thought I'd have a little bit of a hunt around and see what's happening across the country, really. And it's worrying. It's not just welfare, it's rescue in general. There was some research carried out, and it shows that the demand for rescue dogs has declined in the past year, and yet the number of dogs being abandoned is higher than in 2022 and 2021 or even 2020. The demand is going up, but the actual homes that are available has gone right down. And I think we're seeing that as well, aren't we, Debbie?
Yeah, yeah.
Hundreds of dog rehoming centres are being pushed to crisis point, according to a new study. And that's more than 75% of the UK centres said they've seen an increase in dogs being brought to them for rehoming. So it's not just German Shepherds. And more than 75% of UK centres said it's becoming increasingly difficult to find new homes. That was back in January 22, they said that. Dog refuges in Britain are full to bursting as owners are giving up dogs in cash crisis. That was a big headline back in October 2023. And just in April 2024, UK dog rescue centres are overflowing with unwanted or unloved dogs for many different reasons. But one of the most common reasons is still thought to be as a result of the COVID pandemic. I mean, that's really hard to think about, but it's an impact that's continuing to hit rescues. It's not great out there. Debbie, what sort of calls are you getting?
Um, Getting ridiculous calls, really. I mean, some are genuine, and it's really heartbreaking that we can't help these dogs or the people. Um, some are they've took a dog on 24 hours before, and a young dog of 10 months, I think it was 9 months, but it jumps up. Um, what else have we had? One caller, they had children and they couldn't cope with the children and the dog, but they'd got the dog. I said, well, why did you get a dog? She said, well, I didn't know I was going to have children, but the children were older than the dog. So that didn't make sense. Um, this morning, one of the calls this morning was that the wife has kicked the husband out. And so she's saying, you can take the dogs with you. So the dogs are there at the moment, but she's threatening to have them put to sleep if you don't do something about it. Um, Sadly, another call this morning was someone has died and left their 6-year-old dog, and they've got no family and they've got nowhere else to turn to. Um, so they are there. We are still getting the genuine calls, but more often than not, so many of the calls are just that their lifestyle's changed, and things that should have been sort of preempted before they took a dog on, really.
Mm.
It's just
It
um
must be really hard taking all those calls and knowing we've got nowhere to put them.
the hardest thing is, I mean, we're in rescue because we want to help the dogs. We've dedicated our lives to helping these dogs and that, and then you're telling someone you can't help, and then they're telling you they're going to euthanize the dog, and it happens, and this is happening all because we haven't got a space.
Yeah.
And we're just absolutely full at the moment, and it's not as simple as, oh, can you not find more kennel spaces? I think people are under the illusion we just have these spaces, and that they don't realize we actually pay for kennel spaces. So every dog in our care is costing us a kennel fee every day. So when the pandemic started and when it all started to go wrong, I naively thought that it would be temporary and things would pan out again. And we had not a healthy, but we had a fairly good bank account at the time. So we said, okay, we can afford to do it. It hasn't got any better. It's getting worse. So the problem now that we're looking at is, hang on, we've got all these dogs. We've got at least 30 lifers. Have we got enough money for the next 2, 3, 4 years for these dogs? And the sad fact is, if things don't change, no, we haven't.
Yeah.
You know, this is why we're continuously fundraising. But I don't know about you, Lisa, but the temperaments of the dogs coming in have changed. You know, obviously you're doing your behavioural work. I don't know if you're seeing that in your behavioural work, but the dogs are coming in with issues now that we didn't get
No.
years ago.
And they're avoidable issues, some of them as well. They shouldn't, you know, the dog should never have been in that position or had that done to them. It was so avoidable. And that's probably even sadder that these dogs, you know, have experienced that in a previous home and then given up. You know, what is a rescue dog? I know there's this, some people say, oh, I wouldn't take on a rescue. They all have problems. They all nightmare behaviors. I don't want a rescue dog. I'd rather take a puppy. Yeah, good luck. It's not a guarantee.
These dogs were puppies once, weren't they?
Yeah.
All these dogs were puppies once.
Yeah.
And
Yep, and they've come in very, very young, and some are really sad reasons, and others you just think, my goodness, that could have been avoided, and it is so, so sad. You know, why do dogs end up in rescue? Don't they all have unwanted behaviours? Well, we heard about some research that was carried out about trying to, you know, help dogs in rescue, and one of the things the researchers come up with was, as well as giving backup advice when somebody's adopted a dog, the other thing was hearing adoption tales from other adopters about how it went and having realistic expectations about the dogs that they're taking on. You know, some people will think, oh yeah, they'll just come in and slot in with what we want. This is what we want from the dog, and they'll just slot in. And other people's bend over backwards to make sure their dog, you know, has everything that they meet in the middle. They meet in the middle. So we've actually put together, it's quite a big book, Adoption Tales to Happy Tales. They're not just German Shepherds. They're not just from us. They're from all different rescues across the country and some from abroad as well. And people have very kindly described their adopting journey, right from, you know, going to look at the dog to living with the dog. And there's some really lovely stories in there, but that might help. That's available through our website or one of the Facebook pages. And Debbie, we've just released Debbie's book, Ace's Adventures, which is a story about one of the dogs that came in that Debbie had with her. And well, it's just beautifully written. And again, that's available on Amazon on Kindle. Or you can get it through the website if you'd rather have a PDF version, but they're out there. And we just hope that these stories might help put rescue dogs in a new light. And they haven't all got behaviour problems. Yes, some have. This beautiful little girl, we couldn't touch her. We absolutely couldn't touch her at all. And why? She came in a choke chain that was all rusty. We couldn't take it off her because we didn't want to, you know, make her feel so worried that she felt she had to react. It took us, we've got it off now. But she had residential dog training, and it was all very much aversive based. So you put a hand out, she's, whoa, no, you're not coming near me. Absolutely terrified of hands. If we had have pushed and pushed, potentially she could have bitten. She's fab. She's come on leaps and bounds. You can see a little video of her on the website under her details. She's ready for rehoming. If it's somebody who's willing to work with her, we can brush her, we can walk her. But that was avoidable. She didn't need to be in that state. The problem she'd gone there for was barking and lunging at other dogs, I believe. So yeah, let's put some aversives on. Let's get a choke chain on. That's really going to help. But it just created even more problems. That's just one example. And using somebody, people do try using a behaviorist or a trainer. They don't do their research, and some of these have no clue and shouldn't really be working with dogs. To flood a dog, to pin them so that they can't escape the thing that scares them, and say, oh, look, they've stopped barking and lunging and they're fixed now, is really upsetting what this little girl went through. And again, unavoidable. She's up for rehoming. She's absolutely ready to go. She's a fab girl. Another boy came in. Reason, he'd been barking and lunging at other dogs. The lady had tried a behaviorist, and they worked with a stuffed dog for a year, and he didn't get any better. I showed him a stuffed dog. He thought it was a toy. He's actually been in a paddock with another dog, with a female. He's not aggressive. He gives it all this because he's worried. If a dog runs at him, he just goes flat and he's scared. So we want to protect him and help him to feel safe around other dogs. So that's what we worked on. Absolutely fab boy. Again, it's wrong advice. And Debbie, you're talking about this one. You've got all sorts of health issues that dogs have come in.
Yeah, I mean, lots of them are coming in with health issues at the moment. They can't afford vet bills, etc. Or not at the moment. It's been happening for a few years. Little Bo here, I think she came to me when she was 2. She's EPI, and they had got veterinary help, and that she was on enzymes, but she still wasn't putting weight on. So she came to me. She's an absolute sweetheart. She's lived with children. She's fantastic with dogs. She loves people. Temperament wise, you just could not get a better dog than this. Like, it would be one of those, like, why is she in rescue? She's in rescue for the health. So I got advice from my vet, and we done a few things, tweaked the few things, and we got weight on her. So she looked really good. We homed her, and I typed up a list with, like, the to-dos and to-don'ts and everything. Sadly, they didn't understand. I rang the first day to see how she was, and they said, oh, she's had an upset tummy. I said, oh, have you changed anything? And they said, well, we gave her different. And I said, no, she can't have anything different other than all what I've given you. I sent them off with her medication. I sent them off with her food, everything we could do to make it easy. So the next day, this went on for a little while, for almost a week. And I kept trying to get across, no, you cannot change anything. And he said, well, she'll get bored. She won't get bored. She absolutely lives for food. So, I mean, I won't tell you the sort of things that she would eat, because she wants to eat, full stop. She's starving. So this went on a little while. Then I was told it had stopped, it was all okay now. And then after a couple of weeks, I rang to see how, well, obviously I'd been in contact all through this time. Then after a couple of weeks, the conversation went something like, she's lost weight. So I said, well, what do you mean she's lost weight? He said, oh, I dumped, a kilo or something. So I said, oh, okay, well, let's try upping her medication. So I said, so instead of sprinkling, I don't know, 3 capsules on, let's sprinkle 4. They said, what do you mean sprinkle? I said, well, when you do her food, you sprinkle the capsules on her food. Oh, I've not been doing that. So at that point, I thought it was time to come back. We took her back, and she had lost 6 kilos in the 4 weeks she'd been gone. It was horrendous. It was heartbreaking to see. She looked like a quarter case, that had been picked up. From then on, I really, really struggled to get any weight on her. So I got her toilets under control, but she walked about with the hip bones and the ribs, just she looked like a cruelty case. And this went on for, I don't know, over a year or so, maybe 2 years. We was under the vets, you know, my vet was doing, she was joining these veterinary groups, asking all other vets what can they recommend. We tried every different enzyme that we could get. We tried the B12 injections. We tried every diet, every different food, cooked, raw, kibble, whatever. We tried everything. Just couldn't get weight on her. Purely by chance, I was speaking to someone that actually suffered with this themselves, and they said they'd gone through similar, and they had to up the medication. So instead of, just for instance, I suppose the directions were like give 2 capsules a day. I was already giving 4 or 5 because I said to my vet, you know, she said, no, it won't do any harm to her. She's actually on 20 capsules with her meals now, 20, you know. So for a home to, I mean, if we get a dog in with health issues, when they go out, we take care of the medication. But for a normal home to be able to afford 20 capsules with each meal, you're talking of like a couple of £100 a month more, you know, much more for a medication. So more importantly, though, I felt I'd let her down. I really felt this was all my fault, that she'd come back looking like this. And so we had to make the decision to make her a permanent resident, because I couldn't risk someone wouldn't listen again and put her through that, because she looks lovely now. She really looks like, I mean, she's never going to be a big girl, but she doesn't look neglected. She looks like I mean, my dogs are probably a little bit heavier than they should be, but she looks like the weight a vet would probably recommend now, you know. But how can we risk that? How can I risk putting her in a home, this beautiful girl that's good with dogs, cats, people, children, whatever, you name it, she's good with it. How can I risk putting her in a home?
Really, really, really sad. And there's another example, isn't it? This one's with you as well.
Ace is with me. Yeah, he's, poor little boy wasn't in the queue for the lucky cards when he was born, unfortunately. His beginnings wasn't good. He became very reactive. He'd had several homes before he got to, he was 9 months when he came to me. He had several homes. I think, I'm trying to get this right, it was either 4 or 5. I think it was, might have been 4 actually. It had 4 homes, I think. Really, really reactive. He'd got the home the last home he was in, the owner's son had startled him from asleep sort of late in the middle of the night. You know, they'd been out late for, you know, young lads go out and they'd come in, and he hadn't sort of done any damage, but he had tried to, you know, he'd gone berserk and it was 9 months old, you know. They couldn't keep him. When he came to me, he turned up with choke chain, couldn't get near. We just literally had the kennel ready, put him in a kennel, and apart from sort of putting food and water in and tossing treats, and I didn't try to do anything with him for days or weeks even, you know. Late during once he was okay with me, I went to brush him one day, and I just went to sort of put a finger under his collar, like, well, you know, you're moving it to try and brush. He screamed. He absolutely done this heart, you know, curdling scream, and fell to the floor. I spoke to one of the people that were instrumental in getting him out of one of the homes, and they said when they'd picked him up from one of the homes, there was a shock collar being used. So yeah, you know, like we couldn't risk homing him now. He's now, oh Christ, he's got to be 5 or 6 now. He's now blind. He's got a problem with his hip. But a most loving little boy. you couldn't find. But his story, we've done the book Ace's Adventures, and his story is in there, and it's everything we know about him, all what we've been through with him, and it's his little story. It's his little
Yeah.
story. So, you know,
It's a really beautiful read. You know, it's very sad, but it's a really lovely read, and it's only a fiver, and it
yeah,
helps rescue. All the money comes to rescue. So
all money goes
yeah,
to welfare. So,
yeah, either get it through our website or on Amazon if you want Kindle. There's another example that you've experienced, Debbie.
oh, this is Arthur. Arthur is people on our group, they all know Arthur's antics. You know, he keeps everyone amused. He's full of fun, and this is the side we let you see of him. There's Arthur's story was he come from a reputable breeder, very good breeding. The people had done their homework. They'd waited to get the dog they wanted. They thought they'd done all right. When he was 7 months old, they took him to the vets. I think the reason they'd gone was just to renew flea treatment and everything. He walked in there perfectly, perfect, healthy 7-month-old puppy. The vet gave him NexGard. 2 days later, he was back at the vet. Couldn't stand, couldn't walk, vomit, diarrhea. The vet, he diagnosed neurological damage. He said the only way out for Arthur is euthanasia. The owners weren't happy with that. They could see there was a problem, but they felt they were cruel. You know, they wanted to try and find a way out for him. I actually saw the vet records, so this isn't anything that's hearsay. I actually saw the vet records saying walked in at 7 months, all fine. 2 days after, can't walk, vomit, diarrhea. In capitals, this dog needs to be euthanized. And then the last comment on his file was he's going to owner says he's going to a rescue. I have really said this shouldn't happen. He needs to be euthanized. So they'd tried going back to the breeder that took a look at him and said, I'm not taking that dog back. So I was in talks with the guardian, and I said, okay, look, bring him to me. I said, if we really feel there's no other option for him, we will, because this poor guy was absolutely beside himself. You know, it got the dog of his dreams, and now he was being told to euthanize a 7-month-old puppy. So that was the deal. By then he was walking a bit, or he was walking by then, but if you look at his gait, it's very unsteady, you know, it's wobbly. So the guy brought him to me. It was very obvious very early on, it wasn't just the walking and the etc. There was something not quite ticking right in his brain now. He's the most loving boy. Yeah, with me, not with anyone else. But his walks are limited, as in I have to have a chair. Sort of as we go into the field, I got a chair, and then he can roam and do what he wants to do. I can't move. Me moving will send him over his threshold. And it starts as a game, jumping up, biting, and then it changes, and his eyes change, and then he means business. So it's all very easy for people to be saying, well, a dog like that isn't safe, he should be put to sleep. Maybe that's right. That wasn't his fault. This is humans, you know, and not a nasty owner, but pharmaceutical companies and that are still plugging this drug, that and we've got it on record. It's not hearsay. We've got it there on his vet record.
Mm.
So, yeah, he's got quality of life. You know, he has lots of enrichment. He does lots of sprinkles in the grass. He keeps everyone amused with his antics. You know, when he's dipping heads in buckets and then coming and jumping up and taking the glasses off my face and all things like. Dear little boy, but it just can never be homed.
No,
Can never be homed.
just so sad and avoidable.
Yeah.
This little one really gets to me. She's cracking. There's nothing wrong with her. Why is she in rescue then? She was bought as a playmate for the resident dog, and after a couple of days the resident dog badly attacked her. She hadn't done anything. She wasn't winding the dog up. She wasn't doing anything. The dog attacked her. So obviously they felt for her safety she'd have to come into rescue, and we still got her. You know, she's just the most beautiful dog. She doesn't have any behavioural issues. She's never had any behavioural issues. But guess what? She's a black dog. Really hard to get homes for black dogs, let alone all the other dogs. So yeah, absolutely cracking dog. So she is a rescue dog who's come in through no fault of her own at all, got no behaviour problems, and yet she's still in rescue. I've taken on one who came to rescue for a very similar reason. The other resident dog had attacked her. They'd had a fight and she got rehomed, had a fight there. Wasn't her, wasn't her at all. Initially we said only dog, but she's now living with two of my other dogs. Absolutely fine. No behavioural issues. It's just life, just life. So what can be done? I mean, you know, you're hearing all this stuff about the dogs and how difficult it is, and everyone, all rescues are needing support, all rescues are needing, to raise funds. I think our concern is we've got a lot of dogs. We've got a lot of dogs that can easily go to a new home. It's finding the right homes, and there aren't that many coming forward either. So meanwhile, yes, they're all well cared for. They all get their enrichment. They've got fab quality of life. German Shepherd Dog Welfare Fund does so much for these dogs. They're not just in a kennel and that's it. Like when you go on holiday, the dog's boarded and then they come home. That's a couple of weeks. These dogs are there quite a long time. The rescue's got to pay for those kennels. It don't come cheap. All the kennels that have our dogs are absolutely wonderful because they reduce their their costs and give discounts. But if we're going to be able to help more dogs, we need help, 100%. So what can you do? You want to become a member? There's one of the little girls in rescue. All her details are on the website. You could become a member. You'll get a quarterly copy of our newsletter, which could be emailed to you to save us some postage costs. What's membership now, Debbie?
Membership is £12.50 single or £15 joint, for a couple.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
So and for that, as you say, you get the 4 newsletters a year. And you're helping by being a member.
Yeah, it just means that we've got a bit of regular money coming in. Same as sponsor a dog, which I think is a fab idea. And somebody sponsored dogs for me, and I did it for them as well. It's just £20 a year to sponsor one of the dogs, and again, that it just gives that little bit of extra income. There's the Friends group. I'll let Debbie tell you about the Friends group.
Right, the Friends, what we would when the COVID and that was going on and we could see what was happening, we was trying to think of a way to bring more money in. We keep asking for money. Unfortunately, we've got to because we don't have an income from anywhere, but we do like to try and give something back. So we brought up that we created the Friends group. It's £3 a month membership. For that £3 a month, we arranged for a guest speaker to come and do a Zoom talk for us. We've covered things like they're not all German Shepherd related, they're dog related. So any dog guardian, it's going to be of interest to them. yeah, we try and do a few things. That we have had torsion, we've had vaccinations, we've had T-touch, we've had free work, we've had there's just so many. I looked through the other day and I was thinking, we have had some fantastic talks. Last night we had a talk on man trailing that was just really, really interesting. And bits coming out in that. Yes, I've heard of man trailing, I've seen it done and all that, but it was so interesting to hear, how that actually works. So for just £3 a month, you get access to all these talks. If you can't make the live, they're recorded and they're all made available for you to watch at your time that suits you. We also have Lisa often does, usually trying once a month or something, do a Q&A for behavioural questions. We often put, or Lisa often puts on case studies, which again, how she's dealt with, how she's helped turn around a dog that had issues one way or another. So for those people out there that have got issues with their dog, that by watching the videos and hearing Lisa describe what she's done and that's a help for them.
We have some fun quiz nights, don't we? And
yeah, we've had quiz nights,
games.
Yeah, Scribble. We've had Scribble.
Yeah.
I mean, for £3 a month, someone wrote on the group last night, they cannot believe how few people actually A, have joined the group, and B, turn up for the talks, because these talks are so interesting. And for £3, you can't buy a coffee for £3 a month now.
We've had Suzanne Clothier, haven't we?
Yeah, Suzanne Clothier. Oh, I had to be really careful not to. But I'm not. Even as a child, even with all these pop stars, and I was never one to get over thing. But Suzanne Clothier, I had to be really careful not to sit there all starstruck.
I think I did.
I really, really sort of tried to look, and I thought, I don't know, I struggled with that one, because she just really, really is my idol, as in terms of like behaviourist and all that. So we've had some fantastic talks. I was looking at the list yesterday, and it's amazing what we've had there.
Yeah, and for £3, you'd be paying upwards of £20 for just to watch one webinar, and you're getting one a month for £3. So it is really good value. It really is. And obviously we put other stuff on there, information, and talk about the dogs and so on. So, but it didn't just have to be German Shepherds. So yeah, you can join friends. Obviously donations, we appreciate everyone is strapped for cash. Even just £1 can help. Seriously, it sounds ridiculous, but just £1 can help. PayPal as well allows you to choose your favorite charity, and we are there. So when you're buying something, if you want to add £1 to it, it can come to us. Doesn't sound a lot, but it does mount up. That's another one of our beautiful dogs waiting for a home. We have got an Amazon wish list. Obviously, this is Ghost. What a cracking photo that is. We use a lot of enrichment for the dogs. We make sure they all wear harnesses and things like that. So we get through quite a lot of food, treats, toys, equipment. So anything on our Amazon list would be very much appreciated. The dogs will most definitely appreciate it. There's regular auctions as well, and there's some really good stuff. There's some really good stuff pops up on there, so it's always worth keeping an eye. You can find it on Facebook. Join the auctions. It's another of our beautiful girls waiting for a home. Also, something people don't often think about, if you've got toys that your dog doesn't play with, because you know what they're like, you go out and say, oh, they'll love this, I'll get this, and they go, no. If you've got any sitting around, don't know what to do with them, send them our way, please. The dogs will thank you for it. And the same with enrichment items as well. Anything that could be used for enrichment. It's not just things like snuffle mats, but sticky mats. It could be anything you think, oh, that'd be quite good for enrichment. Send it our way, because it saves us that additional money. And as I say, we try and do everything possible for these dogs to make sure they have a wonderful life while they're waiting for their new homes. The other thing, of course, is we appreciate not everyone has spare money. We totally get that. And we also appreciate not everyone can adopt. But you know what? Even just sharing one of the dogs, one of the posts, and just raising awareness. It takes 2 minutes on if you're on Facebook, or if you want to share something from the website or whatever, please share. It does help. It gets them out there. We've had people come forward to adopt a dog, and you think they weren't even on the page, but they saw it on someone else's page. So just sharing a post can actually help. Yeah.
Lisa, am I right also in thinking that if people like and comment our post, Facebook then puts it out there more?
It can raise the profile. The more that posts are shared, your profile goes up. The algorithms on Facebook are beyond me, but apparently the more a post gets shared, the higher so more people will see the posts. So even just doing that, we get it. People are struggling, to look after their own dogs. As Debbie said, she gets calls, on a daily basis, and people who can't afford their dogs, they can't afford the vet treatment, etc. So we get it. Not everyone's got spare cash, and you almost get sensitized to, oh, so and so needs money, and they need money, and they need money. But there are other ways that you can help support. Even just sharing a post will make a big difference. Posting, liking, commenting. So anyway, thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone that does already support us. Like, we really couldn't be doing this work without you.
No.
And we're not saying that lightly. We really couldn't be doing it without you. So
we've got some fantastic supporters. So thank you to everyone who does support us. Yeah. Thanks, Debbie.
No, thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.